So we are live. Welcome everyone on today's meeting. So today we have the second event of our series IT Manager DNA, and the topic of today's event is a manager's update, debugging the 5 common errors of leaders. And I would like to pass the floor to our speakers, Dmytry and Dmytro.
Yeah, thank you very much, Volodymyr. Yeah, hello. Yeah, hello, dear IT folks. We are glad to invite you to our special events, and this is very unique series of event that will be covered during this 2026 year. And with all my pleasure, I just want to say thank you very much for our great expert Dmytry Rytvinski, for his wish, for his will, and for his inspiration in this extra valuable and very, I believe, needed process of knowledge and experience sharing. So, guys, today with Dmytry, we created for you and we chose for you a very specific and very interesting and we believe very helpful topic that related to the manager's upgrade. Yeah, manager's upgrade in the broad understanding of this of the meaning of this word. Debugging the 5 common errors of leadership. And I just want to pass, as usually, the word to our great expert, to Dmytry, just to say a couple of words about himself. Dmytry?
Well, yeah, thank you, Dmytro, very much for another invitation. It's always a pleasure to be with you and have a conversation about different topics, and I'm happy to share, so to speak, my modest experience in this case in management, in like leadership in management. Well, I don't know what to tell about myself. That only that I have like a huge experience under the hood, let's say so. The more than 20 years of leadership in different digital transformation streams, in digital transformation projects related or close to transformation, creating and development of different systems, informational systems. So, so to speak, I understand what management is, what is the difference between management and leadership, what is the evaluation path from the specialist to management manager. We are going to speak today about this topic as well. So thank you once more time for your kind words and invitation.
Thank you, Dmytry. And as usually, I just can say and want to say a couple of words about myself. So I'm Dmytry Lozovytskyi, Chief Business Analyst and also Program Manager in EPAM, and I just convinced in that fact that all together with the great experts, we're going to create something interesting, something new and extra valuable for you guys. And new knowledge, new practices should be created on the edge. Yep, always, where we have the cross-functional zones with different in different disciplines. And we like to collect this experience. I like extremely to share the experience and knowledge because I'm convinced in that fact that that all together we are going to make our life and practice better, easier, and I believe much valuable for all of us. So let's come back to our agenda, guys. And for you today, we are going to prepare the 3 points of agenda. As usually, you have ability or possibility to make the notes during our event, and just please do that. With all our pleasure, we're going to provide an answers for your questions at the end of the event. Please don't forget to use our chat. Our beautiful moderator Volodymyr just going to check this question for us, and we are very happy to provide our expertise and answer on that. And first of all, we're going to talk about the management as a specialty modern and classic perspective. We have a difference, and we're going to talk about top 5 managers errors. Yep, as was announced, and best tips, guys. Not only errors, but best tips. First of all, to avoid the mistakes in your work and be more efficient step by step from day to day. And of course, we're going to speak a little bit more about the transitioning from the specialist high performance to managerial excellence, because managerial excellence is very specific entity in management. And this topic is highly demanded always, but I can say that this topic is very sensitive at the same time, because we have a huge ocean of different aspects that going to have that could have an influence on that entity that we call managerial excellence. So let me switch to our presentation. And first of all, I think that we need to start from the definition, and we're going to think together. Dmitry, what is the key characteristics of the real manager in your opinion, and what is the difference between practitioner or great practitioner and manager?
Well, okay, you're absolutely right, Dima. If you don't want where to start with the definition, and it's like the first insight from this actually webinar we can take. Well, as a suggestion, guys, if you don't know where to start, sometimes start with the definition what you are dealing with. So, as far as I remember, the English word "manage," and we are speaking English right now, originally meant something close to put a horse through the paces of the manege. I mean, this is mostly Italian or French word. Sorry for my Italian and French. That is to guide and control a horse, moving in patterns or cycles mostly within a training arena. So this meaning comes from the Italian word managerial, something like this, derived from manegio, and ultimately from Latin manus or manus. I don't know Latin. Sorry, guys. Means hand. So, like moving and manipulating the horse with hands. Okay. So, putting it together, in historical sense, management referred to the skillful handling, guiding, or directing, literally managing a horse through controlled cycles, patterns, and exercises. And the modern business meaning, which we are using right now today, I mean in modern days, to direct, lead, supervise. So it transformed a little bit, as you can see, evolved from this idea of expert control and guidance to mostly close sometimes to administration roles, and sometimes we put there some sort of like leadership and so on and so forth. But there's a difference. There's a difference between, let's say, so manager and leader. And to make it's simpler, let's put it like a storytelling. Imagine you step into a new role at a thriving company somewhere. On your first day, you are introduced to two people. One is the department's manager, the head of something, and the other was introduced to as a leader, let's say so. The manager's office is organized, usually, and traditionally. There are checklists on the wall, rules posted by the door, and a schedule for every task. This person is in charge. They usually administer, coordinate, and oversee every process. Their authority is clear. It comes from the company's policies and guidance and instructions. If something needs to be done, you likely find it in a procedure manual, written, revised, and enforced by the manager, or somewhere on the different boards like Jira boards. I don't know. Put guidance and ask you to follow the guidance and policies, reading them on Kibi space and so on and so forth. But then you meet the leader. This workspace feels different, almost magnetic. People gather there not out of obligation, but out of genuine interest. The leader doesn't just follow manuals or enforce rules. Instead, they paint a compelling vision of what the team can accomplish together. They guide, empower, and usually inspire you to see meaning in your work. Their authority isn't something handed down from above. It feels almost absolute, not because it's mandated, but because it's freely given by the people who trust, respect, and want to follow them. So, just summarizing this section. A manager administers, a leader manages in a totally different way, like inspiring, guiding, and motivating people. So, Dima?
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome conclusion, and I believe that the modern the fathers or top 20 fathers of modern management, including Peter Drucker, Itzhak Adizes, and other guys, very famous practitioners and scientists. At the same time, all of them, I believe, I believe just confirm this vision that you provided for our colleagues. But I have a question, and I know that we have an answer on that, but we need to think, I believe, about the way how to migrate, from one level to another level. Maybe we could have some kind of specific formula for this. Dmitry, what do you think?
Yeah, and I can. Well, I think that we can move forward, yes, to our next slide and try to explain it not in formulas, because sometimes it's difficult. What kind of ingredients do we need to put in the formula just to become a successful leader or successful manager, let's so speak. But nevertheless, we can speak about like evolution path of a specialist, because usually we all start from the specialist. Rare have I met people like starting their career from like manager's position or head's position. Usually like 9 out of 10 people will start their position by being just simple junior specialists, especially after graduating the university or school or whatsoever. So and let's take a closer look at this evolution career path. And imagine starting your career as a specialist. It's at the beginning, as I said. At this stage, professionalism, the deep knowledge and expertise in your field, in your particular field, is at its peak. Your success relies on your ability to get the job done, perfectly done, with skill and precision. Communication may matter, of course, but it's secondary. Your main value here on this stage comes from technical competence and being so to speak, go-to expert. So ready to be get another task and the task get to be done. But as you move into your management, something dramatic shifts. So suddenly administration becomes essential. You are no longer just responsible for your own work, but also for organizing, planning, and coordinating the work of others, like subordinates. Yes, processes and structure matter. The ability to set clear objectives, track results, and create routines rises quickly in importance. Professionalism is still vital because you can sometimes mentor, guide like juniors, middle specialists, and so on and so forth, but it begins to plateau. You are not expected to be the deepest expert anymore, but the person who enables experts to work efficiently. And as your career advances toward top management, another skill takes center, like communicative skills. Communication becomes like more essential and important. At the highest levels, your effectiveness is defined not by how well you know the technical details, but by your ability to influence, negotiate, inspire, and align people with a common purpose. Administration remains critical, of course. It doesn't disappear, but your professionalism, though still present, becomes less of a differentiator. Instead, your career growth depends on your ability to connect with people, to listen, persuade, inspire, and create meaningful relationships. So
Exactly.
I think
Yeah,
that's a clear
exactly.
definition. If we are talking about like some sort of formula.
Yeah, sure. That is great formula and great vision, because this graph just shows to our audience, to our colleagues, that we have some kind of point of no return, as you can see here on these crossroads or cross lines of this graph. And that is great. And the natural question: how many time should we spend to provide this migration from specialist up to manager and so on? I believe that, yeah, you have your vision, and I can say also mine. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that we can somehow identify these like timelines to put on the horizon like axis, because definitely we are talking about some sort of professionalism in other direction, because definitely you have to skill up, level up your knowledge in a totally different domain to you. So you start like junior, you start growing in your professionalism, and you start let's say noticing how other administrators or how other leaders working with you, around you, and you, if you are like smart guy, I'm pretty sure that all of us like have potential for that. You start learning even by action, by taking the knowledge from your colleagues, I mean from your managers, from your leaders, and so on and so forth. And this can take, for instance, I don't know, 2, 3, 5 years. For somebody it can take 20 actually, and only after that they can say, okay, I'm ready to shift into another position, into another role. So everything should have their own timeline of readiness, because definitely we are going to speak about typical errors or mistakes managers are going to, and if you have like, let's say 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 5, difficult to say how many, so you have to understand that you still need room for improvement.
Yeah, and I can just summarize and just want to share my thoughts also about that point. Agree with you, Dmitry, and just want to add that, guys, please think about your ability to move more rapidly, on your career way. I'm talking right now about the pace where how you can just grow your maturity on specialist level, and after that, thinking about the surrounding in your company, on your projects. Do you have enough abilities just to perform or start performing as a manager? If we are talking about some kind of specific actions that Dmitry mentioned before in his explanation of this interesting graph. And surrounding plus your efforts plus your readiness to change and study just speed up the processes of migration from specialist up to manager and forward. So think about that. And of course, I totally agree with Dmitry's opinion that this process could take some time, definitely, because you can't just download the piece of knowledge or a piece of experience inside your head and just in one click of fingers just be a manager, in one moment of time. For sure, this is some kind of activity, natural activity that you should went through this way, or you should go, you should just cover this way with your specific efforts. And I believe, or we believe, I can say that some kind of system thinking ability or capabilities that you are growing up inside yourself will help you, definitely will help you to cover this way in efficient manner. And about this, we can say that we have on our plate the super specialist loop, the first system errors that we want to cover with you guys. So Dmitry, who is the super specialist?
Yeah, this is our first typical or like common mistake of managers, especially of young managers. So moving from a specialist role to a managerial position is always a leap, but one of the most common like traps is never fully living the specialist mindset. So I'm still, if I'm talking about, for instance, myself, I'm as a specialist coming into a new role, I'm still remain in a specialist mindset. What does this look like? Well, through the eyes of subordinates, employees quickly notice when their manager hasn't let go of their old role. They are still like specialist. Common symptoms: tries to do everything themselves. If you want it done right, do it yourself, guys. We all know this. That's like super specialist sometimes. Doesn't share important information, keeping critical knowledge close. Gives unclear instructions, expecting team members to just know or to guess what I meant. Fixates on minor details, missing the bigger picture. constantly stresses their own professional superpower, undermining others. Through the eyes of top managers, tries to be irreplaceable, becoming a bottleneck for the team, pushes skilled professionals away, feeling threatened by their competence, gets lost in the weeds, focused on details, missing strategic priorities. So,
Yep.
well, I can, from psychological perspective, I can explain why it happens, because it's a natural reflex, guys. Well, people rely on what made them successful before from our previous experience. But clinging to being a super specialist not only hampers the team's growth, it holds the organization back from innovation and adaptability, especially when we're talking about current situation with AI, LLMs, and so on around us.
Yeah, and I believe that this is a very suitable question here, or could be a suitable question here. So, Dmitry, what do you think about some kind of tips for our colleagues? How we can just monitor, yeah, or recognize this super specialist, I believe, mistake, yep, from early signals in managerial practice.
So you want a simple recipe for change? How to
Yeah.
how to how to handle, how to treat it? Okay. The first you can see on the right on the screen, that's a sign. I mean, imagine that you have no hands. You simply can't do everything yourself anymore. What would you do? What would you do in that case? Yeah, you would have no choice but to delegate, to explain clearly, to trust your team to deliver results. Well, some of us right now, even if you are a specialist, trying to be a manager, when you're let's imagine prompting or giving instruction to any assistant in the using like different LLMs. So you're trying to get the result from, of course, artificial, let's say, assistant or specialist, and sometimes you don't see the necessary result because your prompt is vague and unclear. So the same can be like put in this order, that you have to clearly delegate the task, describing the task to your subordinates. So great managers measure success not by what they personally deliver. You have to shift to make like shift in your mindset, but what by what their team delivers when they are not in the room. So think about it.
Yes.
It's not about your personal success anymore.
Yeah, exactly, because the business is a team game, and but that means for all of us seems like a lot of communication, interaction, and good relationships between manager and his team. And I believe that we need to think about some kind of friendship. Am I right?
Yes, and we are going closer and closer to our next system era, let's say so, because we are definitely talking about like closer to IT community. So friendship with subordinates, it's like to trap in a friend zone. As managers, we all want to build trust and great relationships with our teams and team members, of course. But there's a fine line, and crossing it can quickly lead to problems for the manager, the team, and the organization. What happens when a manager becomes one of the team? Again, through the eyes of employees, they notice favorites. I mean, manager notices favorites. Even if you don't intend it, the perception of having favorite employees is hard to avoid. The most important qualification becomes, does the boss like you, not your performance? If a manager requests something difficult, hurt feelings, and even manipulation can image, if you really my friend, what would you ask me to, why would you ask me to do this? And through the eyes of the manager, you may feel underappreciated. I do everything for my team, but they don't reciprocate. You might experience being used, boundaries are not clear, and some teams members take advantage. Your own decisions become hostage of relationships, not what's best for the team or the business. And through the eyes of owners or business owners, I mean, or employer, this manager can be demanding when necessary, too much concern for being liked. They are weak and unable to hold subordinates accountable. The team manipulates the manager, not the other way around. So definitely it's quite a complicated topic.
Yes, and we have very interesting and very old and specific joke in our area that manager is not a man. It's a manager is always manager. So how to stay?
Well,
yeah,
it's up to a person. I mean, because definitely if you understand that business is business, nothing personal, just business. I'm pretty sure that you're all familiar with this expression. In Slavic languages like Russian, Belarusian, I think Ukrainian the same. You will have like something close to friendship is friendship and work is work. Business is business. So try to separate and transparently clarify with your subordinates what you're talking right now and about. You're talking about business and you are talking about like friendship and friends. So during the working hours and working periods, try to talk only about like business and jobs. Separate friendship from work. Adopt and promote the next mindset. This is like general advice, if you speak so.
yeah.
The habit of treating a manager's request as orders saves employees from many unpleasant surprises. Simple,
Exactly.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this means requests from a manager are not personal. They are work. If we are talking about like good manager, not like a imitator or something that we are going to talk later. So clarification and clarity prevents misunderstandings. So just be able to communicate clearly and transparently, even if you have some sort of concerns. Try to clarify them before starting to do any job.
Exactly. So you need to create, guys. You need to create some kind of specific rules, managerial rules, and just sound these rules or just discuss these rules with your colleagues, and that will help you a lot because from time to time we are people, all of us. Yeah, we are humans, and that is fine to provide some kind of friendship during the work, and that is okay for us because we are not robots, just likely for us, but at the same time business is always business. It's just a business. Yep. So we need to understand, as Dmitry mentioned, that your friendship or very close friendship potentially could have an influence and could become as a bottleneck in some kind of difficult project cases for you guys. Don't forget about that and take care about that from initial point of your relationships on your projects. So we just said this magic word, bottleneck, and we're going forward to the next system error. Yep.
Yeah, the number 3. So working for your team, actually, instead of managing your team. And in this case, you will become definitely 100% a bottleneck. Let's talk about a familiar situation. A manager who is always swamped with work, while their team members seem underutilized, their own, the managers' evenings blamed to work, leaving little time for personal development, health, or family, or sports, or hobbies, and so on. Sound familiar? Instead of empowering their team, this manager ends up doing most of the work themselves. They become the bottleneck. Decisions, actions, and solutions pile up at their desk or at their computer or their calendar. Well, what are the symptoms of this? How these mistakes manifest? Manager is perpetually short on time, while subordinates lack enough tasks. Personal life suffers, less time for learning, sports, hobbies, family, community, and so on and so forth. The manager becomes the stopper or bottleneck of all decisions. Thoughts creep in, I'm smarter than all my employees combined. And doing your team's work feels safe, but it's actually a retreat from the tough challenges of real management, a sandbox for directors. Well, why does this trap occur? Often managers are more comfortable with a specialist task, which we were discussing previously of era number 1, is a specialist mindset. And helping out the team feels productive, but ultimately it's a form of escape from the more demanding skills of delegation, leadership, administration, strategic planning, coordination, controlling, giving unpleasant feedback sometimes. Yes, because of course we all like to give pleasant feedback and to receive pleasant feedbacks. But managers, it's not only about pleasant actions and job. Well,
yeah, exactly. And I believe that the main thing that you need to care about as a manager is to just be result oriented. Yep. And when we're going to talk about the result oriented concept of vision, we need to just remind to ourselves the protocol of deep dive, the monkey management rules.
Monkey management, yes. Yeah, so as how to treat this mistake or error? Well, return the monkeys to their rightful owners. So, like imagine that what is monkey? What are monkeys? Yeah, it's the next moves in solving any problem. You can call the problem whatever you want: a task, a problem. I don't know, point for growth. What better suits you? Belong to your well. This should belong to your team, not to the manager. I mean, all this set of monkeys, tasks, and problems. And what are the rules? I mean, the flow for monkey management. First of all, description. Clearly define each problem. We were talking a little bit about this. Use a shared language. Everyone knows the next step. The manager and the subordinates should not part like their ways until the proper next actions have been clearly described. If the next steps are clear described during the discussion, it becomes obvious that the subordinate is quite capable of completing many of them independently. The more clearly the task, the parts of the elephant, let's say so, is described, the stronger the employee's motivation to execute becomes. Ownership. Of course, you have to somehow to pass the ownership of this problem, of this task, of this monkey to the specialist, to the subordinate. Every monkey gets one clear owner. It can't be that one monkey belongs to different people. Assign tasks to individuals, not groups. The dialogue between the manager and the subordinate should not end until every monkey action or task or problem is assigned to a specific person. The best way to develop a sense of responsibility in people is to give them responsibility. Without this, simple sentence, let's say so, or expression or understanding, it's impossible to create responsibilities in people or in your team. And of course, insurance, there should be insurance. Cover risks with clear backup plans. The dialogue between the manager and the subordinate should not end until all monkeys' next actions or problems are insured, covered with safeguards, let's say so. The greater the freedom subordinates have in making decisions, the higher the risk of error. Insurance is intended to ensure that only acceptable mistakes are made. And here we have two approaches for insurance. First, propose, then act. This requires more time from the manager and limits the employee's freedom. And the second, first act, then propose. This type of safeguard can be proposed by either party, but to minimize the risk of unacceptable mistakes, it's typically the manager who initiates it. And the best approach for managers, I mean, treating this common mistake, don't interfere whenever possible, but do intervene when necessary. And we are missing one step more. Don't forget about control, of course. Set specific times and places for follow-ups and reviewing, for updates, for synchronization, that everything goes according to the approved flow.
Exactly. And I can add that I like so much this intention, or the idea to develop responsibility by giving responsibility. It's not only about the responsibility, guys. Please try to think about that point a little bit broader and deeper. And in my opinion, I think that that means for us not only the responsibility for the results, I believe on the team level, but also it means for us the professional grow, and manager will provide you, the wise manager, will provide you this ability to grow by making acceptable, as Dmitry said before, mistakes. As well, not only the best practices, usage, and so on. So this is some kind of motivation by giving the responsibility to be more efficient and more creative person, or on individual level, on team level as well. And that means for us that we need to think a little bit more the results orientation or result oriented team, because from initial point, when you're going to start this protocol of deep dive, the monkey management rules, as a manager, you growing up with your team step by step. And this means that your team just start providing the needed behavioral nature to be result oriented. So team will work till the results will be get, or you will get the results. And that means a lot, because everyone in that team, in such team, and the first of all manager will understand the ownership and responsibility, not on the personal level but on team level as well. So let's go forward. I believe we need to go to the fourth system error, and we call this error as a hologram interface. That is something new, for example, personally for me, and I believe that we have a natural question from our audience. Dmitry, what do you think? What does it mean, the hologram mask for manager?
Okay, let's rephrase it then. Imitating the manager role. It means imitation. So one of the subtlest traps for new managers is playing the role of a leader, of a manager, rather than truly leading or administrating or managing. Sometimes we copy what we think a real manager should be like, hiding our true selves behind the mask, focused more on the image than on achieving results. Well, can you spot an imitator? Just think about it. Can you spot an imitator that you are talking or having a collaboration with an imitator? How employees perceive it? The manager feels closed off, never showing their true face, avoids making decisions, passing the buck to others, deflects responsibility. If something goes wrong, it's someone else's fault, not mine or not my team, or like, because I'm a manager, I'm responsible for the results, mostly than my team, because I should organize the work of my team. Responds poorly to criticism, refusing feedback. Inside the manager's mind, I have to be a perfect manager. Mistakes are unacceptable. Employees should respect me no matter what. My main job is to look confident and in control, and to be always in control. What owners or supervisors see? The manager is preoccupied with their own image, not the results. Something is hidden. There's a facade, but little substance. Lots of action, noise and dramas, different conversations, and in the corridor, in the meeting rooms, somewhere else, but few tangible outcomes. This is the hologram manager.
Awesome. And I believe that, guys, you just recognize yourself in that point, because all of us use such kind of holograms in our practice. And I believe that this is the right time to think about the fact-based management that related to the fifth system error. So corrupted input.
But let's talk a little bit about how to treat the previous one, just a little.
Okay.
The The first one is quite simple: drop the mask. So recognize that everyone uses masks in new situations for safety. It's for safety, but effectively, this focus not on results again, on results and growth, not just appearances. Ask yourself: Am I more concerned with how I appear as a manager, or with real leadership and achieving results? Use the Kin test. Am I truly in charge, or just playing the role? That can help in some situation, at least.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe that this helper in the right part of this slide will be valuable for our guys just to ask themselves the right questions. So yep. So let's go forward because we are time limited. And system error. So, what about the fact-based leadership concept, and what is the connection with the corrupted input?
Yeah. So the first mistake is mostly about relying on emotions and judgments, because we are all living creatures, and we are living, and we feel different like emotions and feelings. So this is the common trap. One of the most it's one of the most damaging mistakes managers make is relying on gut feelings and subjective judgments instead of ground decision and facts. This can lead to miscommunication, bias, and poor choices that negatively affect both people and business outcomes. So, first of all, we have to understand what is fact, like a statement about who, what, when, where, how, that can be confirmed by an observer. So, example, in February, payments for service 666 increased by 20% compared to January. This is a fact. Assumption, they can be assumption. We all like assumptions, especially like business analysts. Let's say
Yeah.
so. A conclusion drawn not directly from events, but from associated observable facts. Example: this instruction does not adequately reflect the functional features of the position. So we don't have any like facts, but we can assume that it's true.
Yeah.
And judgment, opinion, like an evaluative assessment statement based on the speaker's unspoken personal standards, not observable facts. He is a bad manager. This is a judgment, opinion. It's not a fact. It's not even an assumption. So,
yeah. And guys, please trust only facts. Yep, because this is one of the rule of efficient manager. Yeah. So yeah.
always clarify the facts before making decisions. Ground your management actions in verifiable information.
Exactly.
Ask yourself questions and your team. What exactly happened? What was specifically said? Why are you telling me this? What is the purpose of this message? Do we have any facts which can prove what we are talking right now about? What are
Exactly. Exactly, because any kind of project case, work case, etc., when you are interested in or you should resolve this, such case or this case, this or that case, yep, has a different layers. And right now we just go into the fundamental one, fact-based layer. Yeah. So this is a proved things that you are taking account, or you should take them in account when you're going to analyze the situation, definitely, because this any kind of work case also has some emotional level, some kind of actions level that were made, and so on and so on and so on. But facts layer, yeah, as we call that, fact-based leadership concept. This is your key to success.
Yeah,
And
facts, Dima, facts are the foundation of informed decisions. Of
exactly.
course, opinions can inspire. We know this as human beings, but only facts can guide.
Exactly. Totally agree. And we want to systemize the system status, the manager to zero checklist that were discussed today. So the specialist loop, this was the first one. Yeah. System error, the friend zone, this is a second. Reverse delegation, third. The hologram or just mask, the fourth. And the final, corrupted input. Dmitry, what do you want to add here?
Yeah, if you want to remember just one thing from this conversation, let it be this: great management is less about doing and more about enabling. less about appearance and more about real impacts. Real impacts. Well, we all don't like mistakes. Actually, I hate them all because I was raised and educated in the system. I'm in educational context where mistakes were treated with bad marks and treated as something bad, actually. But remember, mistakes aren't the end. They are the curriculum, in our case, for becoming a real leader or a real manager. In other circumstances, it can be becoming better in something else.
I like so much one phrase of Itzhak Adizes: your own mistakes is the passionate roots of your success.
Yeah. Totally agree. Couldn't agree more. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you very much, dear colleagues, today for such great discussion. And actually, one more helper you can see on our screen. And we have 1 minute or 2 minutes for questions, if we have any of them in our chat. Volodymyr? Let's check the chat. Yep.
Yeah, actually, I'm checking the chat and I see just one comment. Basically, we don't have any questions. A comment,
Okay.
it was like related, I guess, in the middle in our presentation. And this was a very insightful topic because someone might be a leader in many areas, but be stuck in specific specialist mindset in certain topics.
Yeah, that is a good comment. And from us, guys, we want to highlight one more interesting thought. Great management is less about your personal output and more about your team's impact. So please think about that, remember that. And when you become a manager, or you are managers right now, please take this wise thought into account and act from the just concept of vision that we discussed today. Please avoid these 5 system leadership mistakes, and your maturity will grow step by step. And as usually, just staying with us, with our global BA community, with EPAM, and we will provide you as always, as usually, a great value and piece of knowledge and experience. Dmitry?
Yeah, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for your support, Dima, and for your company here during these 45 minutes. And thank you guys for commitment to be better managers. And if you even not a manager right now, but you can be a leader in your team. Lead sometimes. You doesn't need authority to be a leader. So if you feel that you can lead.
Yeah, so we can say that lead people and stay tuned as a managers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for our beautiful and great and amazing expert, Dmitry Rytvinski. One more time, guys, if you like our events, if you like the topic that we highlighted for you today, just please don't be shy. Provide to us some badges on VR community place. Just please monitor our events in social media channels, YouTube, LinkedIn space, and don't forget to subscribe on our social media pages. So again, LinkedIn, YouTube channel, and personal pages of experts. Thank you so much, dear colleagues. See you next time, and we will continue this series of IT Manager DNA with our great experts. Thank you. See you next time.
See you next time.